with the greatest tear-out pack of all time.
What's up, everybody? My name's Danny Ferrari.
My name's Parker Ament.
We are Excellent Sound, and we are back with an amazing video. We are going over tear-out subs, my friend.
Yep.
I guess you could call them layers subs. I don't know. If you like space laces, company, sudden death, there's this certain texture these guys are getting in their basses. We're going to show you guys how to do that. We got two different ways to show you how. It's going to make your track sizzle and a little bit more sexy, I'd like to think.
It's like when you leave the liquor store and you're just going to that bag and you can't find what you bought.
Okay.
And it just sounds all papery.
Yeah.
And liquory.
Okay. We're calling this the paper bag sub, okay? It's just like this really, really crisp texture, okay? And we're using our brand new pack, Tearout Volume 2. It is available now. Link is in the description down below. We got 120 Serum presets, and we got tons of samples, tons of bass loops, right?
It's insane.
You guys are loving it. You might have seen our ad. You might be sick of seeing our ad. Keep watching our ad. Buy Tearout Volume 2.
Cut that out, kid.
Leave it in, kid.
Give me your f***ing money!
What's kind of cool is we actually made a giant demo mashup, if you guys haven't heard that. It's about 6 crazy drops. We're using one of the drops as an example right now, and if you guys want to go ahead and get this entire project file of all 6 drops, I think it is available for our Patreon. It helps support the channel a ton, so we really appreciate you guys. If you guys want to go check that out, link is in the description below. This project file is insane. Let's hop into it. Let's talk about what we're making today, bud.
There is a little surprise for everybody who joins the producer vaults. So join up and check the latest post.
Oh, there's
a
a
little
surprise
in there, dude.
Not going to tell you what it is.
Nope, we're not telling you anything.
Check it out.
Check it out.
I forgot what it was, and then tell me what it is. This is like the second drop in this little demo mashup that we made, and it has this really nice underlying texture, the paper bag sub. It sounds like this. And we're teaching you how to make this. Just this crazy texture. Now, in this case, it's not really a sub. You can use it as a sub, essentially, if that's going to be your main low end. But in this specific drop, we have the main bass that's sort of playing. So we have the sub sort of doing this. Sort of following. But what's really nice is that you can have this texture underneath. So if you wanted to do more of like an 808 style pattern, you can use something like this. Or in this case, you could just use it as a nice top layer, okay? Now, we kind of learned this technique. We got to shout out our boy, Bentley, Pixel Terror. We love you, buddy. So we went ahead and named the preset after him. It's called Bentley's Paper Bag. I'd like to think of him as having paper bags, maybe with different types of drinks in them. Yep. Not anymore, but
electrolytes in that bag.
He likes to hydrate. We love Bentley, and we were kind of messing around making these crazy subs. And he made this like machine gun sub on this thing we were working on, and it inspired us to sort of make it just in Serum. So we got 2 ways. We're going to show you how to do it in Serum, and then we're going to show you another way using a really cool plugin called Rift.
So real quick, I wanted to say how important this piece is to creating tearouts.
Yeah, it really is.
You need to have some sort of texture on top of your gunshots. If you just have a drop of gunshots and just layers of gunshots, it still sounds empty.
Yeah, we can listen to it without it, and you'll hear it's kind of like, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But with it, it just makes it
so much better.
It's richer, right?
Yeah.
It's texture, okay? So this preset is pretty cool. We're going to give it away for free in the description down below. You guys can go ahead and grab that right now. It's Bentley's Paper Bag 01. There might be 3 of them in there, okay? Just saying.
We're bagged out, dude.
We're bagged out. So the way we're going to start this is we're going to essentially start with just a sub oscillator, okay? So right now I have just a saw wave. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a sub oscillator, or even actually triangle. Let's go triangle. Triangle has nice harmonics,
triangle.
okay? And the idea is that you're essentially going to take a basic shape and we're going to distort the hell out of it, okay? One way to do that is by using basic shapes and starting with a sine wave, and you can essentially create your own noise. Now, for this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new Serum so I can kind of show you how you guys can kind of do this yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and do this and show you what we did.
This is such a sick nug, dude. I love doing shit like this, Danny.
This is a banger nug for sure, right? So this is how we made this specific wavetable right here. It looks kind of crazy, but it's really simple. Okay, so if I take just a Serum and let's say I go into the wavetable editor right here and let's choose a sine wave to start with. If you go here and you select this is noise, because sometimes the noise in Serum like gets a little redundant.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to create texture. So you can kind of see what we did here is we kind of just drew around a little bit and we kind of pulled this up and you can kind of see we're getting a cool sort of texture there, right? So drawing in the noise kind of makes it your own sort of uniqueness to it. It's really it's kind of quiet, but you can kind of hear it there, right? So that's how we made this initial wavetable right here. So jumping back into that, this wavetable will be in the preset. You guys can export it however you want. We made this wavetable. Let me turn off the filter so you can hear what it's doing. Just a very, very just nice crunchy sound. Very quiet, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use a sine wave because we need to create some more body in it, okay? So we're gonna use oscillator B and we're gonna set a sine wave and we're gonna make sure the octaves are the same. We have -2. So now we got a little bit of sub, right? Of course, we've talked about this in other videos. If you guys haven't seen our gunshot video or long boy video, we're gonna do the classic Tearout master tune pitch mod. The way you're going to do that is you're going to set up an LFO and you're going to sort of make like a really fast ramp, set it to envelope, and then go ahead and add the LFO1 to master tune and put it like 19. So it pitches it down right away. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and jump right into the filter. This is where stuff gets kind of interesting. We kind of mentioned this in a video before where we're trying to not do the same thing over and over again like we do in Serum. Sometimes it's like, oh, we got to send both of the oscillators to the filter. No, we're not going to do that, right? Because there's something that's really cool about just distorting a sine wave on its own. So what we want to do is we want to process this noise a little bit more. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off oscillator B and I'm going to initialize the filter. And I'm going to use a bandpass with a super high resonance, okay? This is going to create my pitch of my noise. Right? You can add drive if you wanted. And we have key tracking. Depending upon where you move this cutoff, is really you're going to hear different sort of characteristics of the tonality and key of it. Resonance all the way up. And now let's use a little bit of processing. There's a bunch of different distortions you can use. In this case, we're using 0 square. It's kind of like a very digital sounding distortion. That resonance peak is creating that sort of gnarly sort of pitch to it, right?
It kind of sounds like a little night punky, you know?
Yeah, it does. A little night punky.
He does a lot of resonant stuff like that.
Yeah, he really does. And let's go ahead and bring our oscillator B back in so we can get that sort of distorted sine wave we're looking for. Them together is creating this magic sort of relationship between the two of them. And along with this sub here too as well. This is going direct out.
I like that a lot.
Right? The level of this, you can sort of adjust this how you see fit. I think we used ASIM. I mean, you can... We're trying to get it to sound broken almost, you know, in a way. Like, and to make it really come out, we're going to use a multi-band compressor. We need to turn this up. This is too quiet. Now, we want this to be our top end, right? Because we have a sub already. So by not cutting out the lows of this sub, we're essentially getting phasing issues. So we're going to add an EQ. So this EQ is kind of just doing a high pass with a really high resonance peak and a shelf on top. You can hear it really. We're getting that sizzle. And then here's what's really cool is you can move this cutoff and get different pitches. You can even do like a little, you know, sort of move that wherever, like, you know, have like a little, maybe like a little ramp sort of LFO right in the very beginning to kind of have like a little movement. Well, that's kind of cool. You can hear it sort of kind of create some really cool characteristics of it. Okay, now that we got that, the main secret sauce of this, why it's called Bentley's paper bag, is because we're using the very well slept on. If you're sleeping on this, wake the fuck up. Get yourself a paper bag noise, okay? This noise is stock in Serum and it's paper bag. So rather than just using like the regular noises, we're actually with the paper bag noises is, I believe somebody actually just sort of wrinkling a paper bag in the microphone. You guys can make this at home however you want. Get something something that has some type of texture, right? Maybe you're taking, you know, like a piece of paper and you're just sort of crinkling it up, right? Maybe you're scratching yourself. Maybe you're scratching your genitals. Maybe you get that cool noise from that. That could work, you know? You got any ideas for interesting noises?
I mean, dude, you could just scratch your face, dude. Scratch a
your face?
microphone.
Scratch a microphone, yeah. Just get some weird noise. This characteristic, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn off all these so you can just hear what this paper bag noise sounds like. Actually, I'm gonna bring back this Serum so you guys can kind of hear. This is a really cool noise. A lot of these noises, like, we don't ever really have uses for, but for this specific reason, to have the texture, it's like perfect, right? So if I go to paper bag, turn the level up, it's just a recording of just like paper, right?
Yeah.
So for this preset, we have the paper bag, levels all the way up, key tracking is on, and the pitch is set to 43. Oh man, so sick. Okay, let me turn these off so you can hear it. All that distortion is also adding a lot to it as well. So once you got the paper bag in there, and then you got, of course, all these back and initialized. We're not setting the noise to it too. Just, I mean, you could. Kind of, oh.
Yeah, that's sick.
So sick. That is really, really the magic, is really using this noise, is adding that extra texture. You can layer it with something else. Maybe you find some foil?
Foily?
Yeah, some Foley, and you can layer it on top. But this is kind of cool just being able to do it in Serum. And then beyond that, since we do have a dedicated sub, which is up here, what we did is we went ahead and we used a utility and we gave it some width, and then we cut the lows. You need the lows. You have to process the lows, the low sub harmonics, to get the high distortion. If it was just like sine wave at like 0, for instance, at the octave, it's not going to have the same effect. There's something about a low sine wave and a bunch of distortion that creates this really nice top texture.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you can hear it just cutting the lows out. With the width is really nice. We'll put this rack in there.
Put the paper bag back on.
It is on.
Yeah, or take it out of the filter.
Sizzle.
It's nasty.
And in context with the bass. Now here's another thing that I think people get stuck on. I was using the tuner check. We were trying to like make sure we had it in the right pitch, but it actually doesn't matter. Sometimes having like a little bit of dissonance of your main sort of key. I don't even think this is, I think that's like a D sharp and this is like a C sharp. Sometimes moving this around can get some really cool, interesting sort of relation between the two notes. It actually should be this note.
It sounds too in pitch on the right note.
That's like a nice little nug too. Like, obviously use your ears. They're going to be the best judgment, but like try switching different notes to try to see if you can get some weird dissonance between.
It's like a guitar when it's like not fully pressed, or like you bend it a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're hitting the note and it's like a little off.
Exactly. Or you get like, we call them framps.
Oh yeah, the framps.
Yeah, it creates this, I don't know, it's really cool texture. So that's one way of doing it. Again, this preset is in the link down in the description. And if you want to get this project file, again, we have that as well. Check out our Patreon for that. Now let's get into a little thing I like to call Rift. Okay, we're going to be using Rift by Minimal Audio today. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to just turn off all this stuff right now, and I'm just going to start with just, I think it's a sine wave. So I got Serum, you can use whatever you want, and we just have a sine wave, okay? We're just needing some type of source of sound. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this Rift distortion. And it's a very, very heavy distortion. Let me turn off all this processing and we'll explain how to sort of use Rift to get it, you know, it to its full max potential, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, max potential.
I don't got
You're
time
speaking my language,
I don't
dude.
got time for the whole word, dude. I'm busy. Okay, so we're using Rift. What I like to do for Rift, this is also, shout out Bentley for this too. Got to give him some props for.
Give him some love, dude.
Some love. Yeah, check out, if you guys don't know Pixel Terror, he's the man. But yeah, I'm using the beat damage. I'm like trying to destroy it. You can try a bunch of these. I like this one a lot, but sometimes you have to dial in the preset because they have like sort of LFOs moving, and we don't really want that. We want just like, we just want destroyed sounds. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, that one's sick with the Redux.
You hear how it sees that thing at the end? I would probably want to turn that off, right? But you can adjust things like the output and the drive. just destroy the sound. It's okay that it's clipping. Who cares?
Yeah.
They have these cool macros and stuff to tune. That sounds like a resonance peak.
Yeah.
Very similar to what we were doing in ours.
Yeah, you're right.
Really, we're just trying to get it just destroyed, okay? And then once you have it destroyed however you see fit, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to process this distortion. We're going to cut out the lows. We're going to use an OTT to sort of get more out of the highs, mids, and lows. Nice buzz. Another EQ, and this is where you can kind of have fun. Look, we got a resonance here.
That's a really nice vocal.
And then some stereo width with utility. One more EQ at the end. We're going to be cutting the lows here. And if you want to use this as your actual sub, what you could do is sort of create a new chain like so. And then in this chain, what you would want to do is you want to do your utility and you want to put that, make sure that's in mono, and then you want to cut out just to your fundamental. I have it soloed right now. So it's just the sub frequency. It might be hard to hear on headphones, but together. And you can adjust it accordingly.
That's honestly the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, separate your lows and your highs.
But you need that fundamental to get the highs. It's kind of interesting. So this is kind of a cool way to sort of keep your sub clean, but also use it to process to create that sort of high-end texture that we're looking for. Again, in this case, we're using a dedicated sub to follow along with the pattern of the gunshots. We've said this before, guys. Use a dedicated sub for just one sound. Either it's gonna be the main bass sound or it's gonna be like a sustaining 808. Like, those are the only reasons. You can't have both. It doesn't work, unfortunately.
Don't be a lazy producer.
Yeah, don't be a lazy producer and stop putting things with sub frequencies on top. You got to choose one or the other. And in this case, it makes more sense to use this as a texture. It feels like it's adding sub to the sound, but it's actually not. The sub is coming from something else. It's the texture that's really adding a lot. It's
pushing it.
So yeah, you can see this. So in this case, I'm just gonna cut out the lows and I'm gonna shelf the highs. And let's hear what this sounds like now without this. And you could dial it in from there. You know, you could start going through your riff, go through more riff presets, however you see fit, and start, you know, turning knobs. Definitely listening to it in the mix is going to be the best way, because you might find something by itself that doesn't really sound good, but listening to it in the mix. Even that's like cool.
That's really cool.
You know, you could find a lot of cool stuff this way. What's the is this the crazy one? You know this plugin better than I do. Is it beat damage? Which is like the gnarliest
Drum heat. Drum heat is really crazy. Mutated bass is crazy.
Let's try mutated bass. See too much movement.
Yeah, it's like the neuro.
Oh yeah, these all have like LFOs and shit.
Yeah. Try drum heat.
Drum heat? Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff that you guys can go in there and play with, mess around with it. Just make sure that you are choosing what your dedicated sub is.
So another really important thing that you and me do a lot, we do our subs last. We do our dedicated subs last.
Yeah.
So we try to ride for as long as we can before we have to make a dedicated sub.
Yeah.
Because if you keep changing up your drop, you keep changing up your rhythms, then you got to double the work. You got to move the sub. It's really annoying. So try to do your dedicated sub last. And this is cool too, because you could have the texture first.
Right.
Just to get the vibe and see where it's at, and then you could add the sub later.
Right. And you could even, like, another thing too, actually, now that brings up another thing, is you can add, we have this sort of already playing this, right? I could also go like this, freeze it, flatten it, pull it up to here, keep that off, and then also I can start now shaping it however I see fit to my actual main bass here, right? I might just start shaping it, you know, a little bit more, like so. You know, maybe it's like this. This might sound cool too, I don't know. kind of gives a gung. It's
Yeah,
a little
it goes to a
chuggy.
bass layer now.
Right, so that's another thing that you can do. So that was a great point. I'm glad.
Yeah,
So there's a little extra for those of you who stay till the end.
We got nugs, dude.
We got nugs all day long, man. Cue the music.
Just throw those nugs, dude, on the table.
Nugs
dude.
on your chest, dude.
Just nugs.
Nugs right on. Just fucking rolling
Just
nugs.
roll some nugs, dude.
Right on somebody's chest. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, we are Excellent Sound. Tearout Volume 2 is available. Link is in description. 120 Serum presets, tons of bass shots, tons of bass loops, tons of drums, tons of effects. An awesome pack. You guys seem to be loving it. If you love Tearout Volume 1, you'll definitely love Tearout Volume 2. Support us on Patreon if you guys want to get the entire project file of this demo mashup. Like the video, subscribe, comment, let us know what you guys do for subs. And Parker, do you have anything else for the people?
And tear your hearts out.
Tear your hearts out,
Put them
everybody.
into Ableton.
Put them in the table. Shake them up, throw them on your
Shake up that
chest.
heart, tear it into Ableton.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Peace.